Hello students, welcome back. Now today we are going to continue the previous topic, mechanical properties of fluid. Today we are going to start the topic hydrostatic paradox. In this topic we will consider a vessel shown in this diagram. There are interconnected vessels. When a liquid is poured in any one of the vessels, it is noticed that the level of liquids in all the vessels is the same. This observation is somewhat puzzling. It was called hydrostatic paradox. One can feel that the pressure of the base of the vessel C would be more than that at the base of vessel B, and a liquid from vessel C would rise into the vessel B. However, it is never observed. The pressure at a point depends only on the height of the liquid column above it. It does not depend on the shape of the vessel. In this case, height of the liquid column is the same for all the vessels. Therefore, the pressure of liquid column in each vessel is the same and the system is in equilibrium. That means the liquid in vessel C does not rise into vessel B. In figure B, the arrows indicate the forces exerted against the liquid by the walls of the vessel. These forces are perpendicular to walls of the vessel at each point. These forces can be resolved into vertical and horizontal components. The vertical components act in the upward direction, as shown in figure. Weight of the liquid in section B is not balanced and contributes the pressure at the base. Thus, it is no longer a paradox. So, paradox is the contradiction that we observe and what we expect. So, our next topic is Pascal's law. The Pascal's law states that the pressure applied at any point of an enclosed fluid at rest is transmitted equally and undiminished to every point of the fluid and also on the walls of the container, provided the effect of gravity is neglected. So here we have to neglect the effect of gravity, and in simple word, pressure at every point in a liquid which is present in a container is same. So that is a statement of Pascal's law. Now we will study some applications of Pascal's law. The first application is hydraulic lift. The hydraulic lift is shown in the diagram, figure 2.11 in textbook. As shown in this diagram, there are two cylinders, P1 and P2. So P1 we can say as a piston 1, P2 is said to be piston 2. Hydraulic lift is used to lift a heavy object using a small force. The working of this machine is based on Pascal's law. A tank containing a fluid is fitted with two pistons S1 and S2. S1 has a smaller area of cross section A1, while S2 has a much larger area of cross section A2. If we apply a force F1 on the smaller piston S1 in the downward direction, it will generate pressure P, which is P1 which is equal to F1 divided by A1, which will be transmitted undiminished to the bigger piston S2 according to Pascal's law. And therefore the force pressure exerted at the second piston is given by F2 divided by A2. But according to Pascal's law, the pressures are equal and therefore P1 is equal to P2. Substituting above two equations, we get F2 is equal to F1 multiplied by A2 divided by A1. So this we get the final equation. As A2, area of second piston, is greater than A1, that is area of first piston, F2 is much greater than F1. So if we apply very small force F1, it will exert large amount of force F2 at the other end. And the object which is kept above it will be lifted in upward direction. And that is the principle of hydraulic lift, which is based on Pascal's law. The second application is hydraulic brakes. The hydraulic brakes are used to slow down or stop vehicles in motion. It is based on the same principle as that of a hydraulic lift. So in this diagram, figure 2.12 in textbook, there are schematic arrangement of hydraulic brakes. By pressing the brake paddle, the piston of the master cylinder is pushed in forward direction. As a result, the piston in the slave cylinder, which has a much larger area of cross section as compared to that of master cylinder, also moves in forward direction so as to maintain the volume of the oil constant. The slave piston pushes the friction pads against the rotating disc, which is connected to the wheel, thus causing a moving vehicle to slow down or stop. You can observe this in your bike, cars, rickshaws. Most of the vehicle nowadays use hydraulic brake system. Here again, the same principle is used. Pressure applied at the master cylinder is P1 is equal to F1 divided by A1. The pressure applied at the slave cylinder is P2 is equal to F2 divided by A2. But according to Pascal's law, once again P1 pressures are equal everywhere. So P1 is equal to P2. So substituting the values, we get F1 upon A1 is equal to F2 divided by A2. And hence simplifying, we get F2 is equal to F1 into A2 divided by A1. As A1 is very small as compared to A2, or A2 is very large as compared to A1, F2 is greater than F1. So by gentling brake pad, by pressing the brake pad gently, we can apply large amount of force at the brake pad and the vehicle stops. Now the next topic is measurement of pressure. The instruments used to measure pressure are called pressure meters or pressure gauges or vacuum gauges. We will describe two instruments which are commonly used to measure pressure. The first one is mercury barometer. As shown in figure 2.13 in your textbook, the mercury barometer looks like this. It is an instrument that measures atmospheric pressure. One of the first barometers was by an Italian scientist, Torricelli. The barometer is in the form of a glass tube completely filled with mercury and placed upside down in a small dish containing mercury. A glass tube of about 1 meter length and a diameter of about 1 centimeter is filled with mercury up to its brim. It is then quickly inverted into a small dish containing mercury. The level of mercury in the glass tube lowers as some mercury spills in the dish. A gap is created between the surface of mercury in the glass tube and a closed end of the glass tube. The gap does not contain any air and it is called Torricelli's vacuum, which is shown in this diagram. It does contain some mercury vapor. Thus, the pressure at the upper end of the mercury column inside the tube is zero. That is, pressure at a point such as A is Pa equal to 0. Let us consider a point C on the mercury surface in the dish and another point B inside the tube at the same horizontal level as that of point C. The pressure at C is equal to the atmospheric pressure P0 because it is open to atmosphere. As points B and C are at the same horizontal level, the pressure at B is also equal to the atmospheric pressure P0. Hence, we have Pb equal to Pc equal to P0. Suppose the point B is at a depth h below the point A and rho is the density of mercury. Then we get the equation that we derived in previous video. So Pb is equal to Pa plus h rho g. Now the atmospheric pressure is therefore P0 is equal to h rho g, since the value of Pa is 0. So by measuring the height h of mercury in the tube, we can calculate the atmospheric pressure by substituting the density of mercury and acceleration due to gravity g, which is 9.8 meter per second square. Thus we can able to measure the atmospheric pressure by using mercury barometer. The second one is open tube manometer. The open tube manometer consists of a U-shaped tube partly filled with a low density liquid such as water or kerosene. This helps in having a large level difference between the level of liquid in the two columns. Again, one arm of the manometer is open to atmosphere and the other is connected to the container D, of which the pressure P is to be measured. The pressure at point A is atmospheric pressure P0, atmospheric pressure P0, because this arm is open to atmosphere. To find a pressure at point C, which is exposed to the pressure of gas in the container, we consider a point B in the open arm of the manometer at the same level as point C. The pressure at point B and C is same because they are at the same height. The pressure at point B is therefore given by Pb equal to P0 plus H rho g, the equation we derived in the previous video. Here rho is the density of the liquid which is present in the U-shaped tube. H is the height of the liquid column above point B as shown in figure, and g, small g, is the acceleration due to gravity. According to Pascal's principle, pressure at C is the same as that at D. So therefore, the equation now becomes P is equal to P0 plus H rho g. As the manometer measures the gauge pressure of the gas in the container D, we can write gauge pressure in the container D as